Hello y'all, this is Silenx, and in this video you're gonna learn how to get, print, or whatever you want to call it, how to get Fibonacci series printed in 4 different languages: C, Python, Java, and JavaScript. Now I'm making this video majorly for the people who are in college or like studying, because in exams Fibonacci series and how to get factorial of a number, these two are the questions which usually come. That's something I've learned from YouTube. I've already made a video on how to get a factorial if you're interested in that. So in this video I'm going to be teaching you how to write code in 4 different languages. Doesn't matter if you use any of them, and the logic will be same, but only the syntax will change. So I will only teach you about the logic in the C part, and I'll also leave the timestamps in the description if you want. I'll only tell the logic in the C part, and then I will show pre-written code in Python, JavaScript, and Java. If you'd like to get explanation, then you have to go to the particular timestamp I've put in the description, which is named as explain, where I have explained how the logic works. Now I am going to repeat. Logic doesn't change while we change languages. So logic will be same, only syntax will change. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get straight into it because I've already done a lot of delay. So we're gonna start from C. Now, if you haven't watched my last video, this all code is from my last video, so I'll get rid of all of this. Now, I expect you to know basic C in order to get started. Now I'm gonna put some basic boilerplate code, which is studio h, and then int main. You can also put void if you want, it doesn't matter. You should know if you code in C. Anyway, we were trying to get what we were trying to do. Okay, we were trying to get Fibonacci number. Okay, Fibonacci series. So let me tell you what Fibonacci series actually is. So Fibonacci series is this series. I think you should know what a Fibonacci series is if you are interested in like printing Fibonacci series. Anyway, this is the Fibonacci series if you didn't knew. Anyway, well, I'm gonna get straight to where I code the function. So I'm gonna create a separate function to get the Fibonacci series, and I'm gonna call that function show. Okay, and you should know what I'm doing because you're a C programmer. Don't fail me, okay? Anyway, I'm gonna type void show. This is not gonna return anything, so that's why I'm saying void. In this, what I'm gonna do is I am gonna define okay. Okay, I'm gonna write the whole code in here. And now what we will do, we will define some integer containers. We'll define some integer variables. First will be, now one thing that I do have to tell you is it's impossible to actually, okay, I'm gonna tell you that later when I'm actually explaining the code. I'm going to do that later. What I'm going to do right now is actually show you the code. So if you are here just for the code, you can just see and go. Anyway, I'm going to do int n1 is equals to 0. Don't worry for the people who want me to explain this. I'm going to explain this at some point, like after some minutes in this video. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say int n3 is an undefined integer, and int number of elements is also an undefined integer. Now I'm gonna do printf. I'm gonna print percentile d. If you're here just for the code, then this is probably gonna help you. And yeah, this will be all you'll need. Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write a for loop integer I is equals to 2, and then if I smaller than number of elements plus I, and then in the for loop I'll do n3 is equals to n2 plus n1, and then printf percentile d, and then n3, and then I'll do n1 is equals to n2, and then n2 is equals to n3. And that is all you will need for the coding part. If you want, you can just wait, we haven't actually gotten the number of words. We have to take a scan for that. Okay, we're gonna do that. Print inner the number of elements you want to have in the series. Okay, and then I'm going to take a scan of an integer, and then I'm going to store that value in the number of elements integer container. Anyway, this is all for the code. If you want to copy the code for just for your exam, this is the code which is gonna get you the Fibonacci series. You can simply put this code, all of this content inside of main function. It will work the same. I have just created a separate function to just keep things clean. Now I'm gonna type show. I'm just gonna showcase that this function works. After that, I am also going to explain how I made this function. Now I'm gonna compile this into an exe using GCC. Wait for a second. Implicit declaration of function print. Did you mean printf? Somewhere I have used print. Yeah, I have here. I shouldn't have done that. I actually switch between a lot of languages. That's why, maybe that's why that thing has happened. Anyway, I'm gonna do the same thing. Sorry for that mistake. I'm gonna compile it, then I'm gonna execute that a.exe. Now it's asking me enter the number of the elements you want to have. I want to have 10 elements, and then it says, oh my gosh, it's not giving space. How will we even look at that? I'm just gonna give it a little bit of space after this. Now I'm gonna compile it again. No, wait for a second. No, please turn this off. Compile it again. Execute the executable. Then I want 10 numbers, and now you see this is the Fibonacci series. 0 plus 1 1, and then 1 plus 1 2, 2 plus 1 3, and you know it. Anyway, this code did work. Now I'm going to explain how this did work in the first place. Now, the thing you need to know is in Fibonacci series, it's impossible to print the first 0 and 1. This is impossible because there are no two numbers according to me. And according to anyone, if you are going on the internet and finding for how to print Fibonacci number in any language, they will tell you to just simply print these two numbers because these two have no way to be printed. After that, you can have after this point, you can have all the things printed by computer, but these two numbers you will have to print yourself. That's why I initialized two integers, 0 and 1. Now the 0 and 1, I already have them. Now n3 is a container in which I'll keep the value of n2 plus n1. Number of elements is the number of elements the user want to be in the series to be printed. So I simply took a scan of in the terminal, which just gives me a value, an integer of how many elements there shall be in the series. Now I did print these two because I told you these two are impossible to print, and maybe you can do negative numbers and print them somehow, but that's out of scope of this video. Anyway, I simply printed two of these numbers, which actually gave us our initial 0 and 1. And after that is some great logic. Now let's jump into that logic. It's simply a for loop. Now, one thing that might bug you is why have I set this I to 0? Now, if you are coding in C, you should of course know about for loops. Now, the thing is, in for loops, you usually do let integer I is equals to 0, but I have started from 2. Why is that? That is because we have already put two numbers in the series, which are 0 and 1. We have manually put them, so we have to start counting from 2. If you don't know, in languages like C and most of the languages you'll see out there, the counting starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now that we have already put the first two numbers, which are 0 and 1, now the third number which is going to be put from 2. So I hope you understand that. That is the difficult part to understand. After that, it's easy. Now here I have said n3 is equals to n2 plus n1. So imagine this n1 and n2 are 0 and 1 respectively. So this n3 will become 1. Now we will print 1 here, as we have done here. We have print after the 0 and 1 of manual printing, we have done print 1 here. Now this for loop, now after this, it will set n1 to n2 and n2 to n3. What will happen is n1 will become n2, which is 1, and then n2 would become n3, which is right now is 1. Now the for loop will start again as n3 is equals to sum of these two. Remember how we set n1 to n2, which is 1, and n2 to n3, which is also 1. Now these two are equal to 1, and 1 plus 1 is equals to 2. Now this will print 2 as it did right here. Now it will go back into the code and will say n1 is equals to n2, which is 1 still. But now it will say n2 is equals to n3, which is now 2, because we just printed 2. So n2 is equals to 2. Now code will run back to the for loop until we reach this number of element limit. It will say n3 is equals to 1 plus 2. So that will how it will work. So I hope you did understand. It's quite easy once you get the hold of it. You should practice a little bit of time yourself. Try to like print things here so that you can understand better what's going on. Anyway, that was all for the explanation part. And now, so now we're finally into the Python part. Well, I'll tell you how to get Fibonacci series in Python. Now, in this, I've explained how to do this, and you should go into the description, find that explain timestamp, and go to it, and then and I have explained how this function actually works. Now, I've simply defined that same function here, which I've explained before. I'm gonna say that again, and I have pretty much ran a for loop saying that it's pretty much explained. It's nothing different. I'm just showing you the code for Python. I'm not going to explain it again because I've already done that. I'm just going to show you that this code works, which is going to be fibonacci.py, enter the number of elements to be shown, and 10. You have the elements. If you want the code, it's right here. And if you want to learn how this actually works, only the syntax has changed. Let me give you a little bit of a recap because this can be a little bit difficult. So what I've done is call the show function here. Show goes here. It sets a value n1 equals to 0, n2 is equals to 1, n3 is equals to 0. Then it asks for user input, which is amount of numbers you want in the series. Then it prints 0 and 1 manually because I've already told that 0 and 1 are impossible to get, or maybe you can get it, I don't know. Then we have ran a for loop and we have start from 2 because we have already put 0 and 1 here, like 0th element and 1th element, and we are starting from 2th element if you know about array indexing. Anyway, then we have done n3 is equals to n2 plus n1, which says because these are 0 and 1, n3 will be 1 in the beginning, then it will print 1, and then it will go here, it will say n1 is equals to n2, which is 1, n2 is equals to n3, which is 1. Then these two will sum up to make n3 2, and thus this loop will go on. If you want to understand better, you can of course go to that timestamp. I will say again, only the syntax has changed, the logic hasn't. So please go and check it out. Now we're gonna get into the JavaScript part. And here is the function. It's pretty much as same as Python. I'm just gonna show you the code. It's pretty much it's like copy of Python. So yeah, I'm not gonna explain it. You can pretty much see that this is the same as nearly C. So if you want to get explained, then go into the description, check out that timestamp which says explain. Node fibbonaci.js, and then it already gave me the numbers because I've hard coded the amount of elements I want in the series, because I don't really want into getting taking inputs from HTML thingy and node server and stuff like that. So yeah, this is the code for JavaScript if you need it. Now I'm gonna get into Java. We're gonna check out how to print out Fibonacci series using Java. Now we are inside of Eclipse IDE, and this is my preferred IDE. This is where I prefer coding Java. Anyway, I'll get into my manual project. I've already made a project for you, Fibonacci series, and if you haven't watched my factorial video, then you should. I'm gonna go into the main Java file, and then I'm gonna show you the logic, which is right here. I've done the same thing just as in JavaScript, just defined some integers and stuff like that. Again, if you want to know how I actually made this logic, you should go into description and check out that timestamp where it says explain. Although I have explained in C, but the logic doesn't changes, okay? I'm not sure if that grammar is correct. Okay. Anyway, I have done this. I've taken a scan for an input, then I've defined three integers, so 0, 1, and 0. Then n3 becomes the sum of these two, and the for loops goes for the infinite time until you stop it. Anyway, then I've taken this Fibonacci thingy, and of course, I'll show it to you and run it. And enter the number of number to get factorial. What the is this? I don't want to get factorial. What? No, please. I think this is some problem going on. I'm gonna terminate this program. Okay, it has terminated. I'm gonna save this and then run this. Okay. No. How do I run? I've forgotten Java. It's been so long. Okay, I have two files. Okay. Run main2. Enter the number of elements to be in the series. I want 10 elements to be in the series, and it gives me 10 Fibonacci element numbers. So yeah, that was all for Java as well. So now I have taught you how to get Fibonacci series printed in 4 different languages. If I somehow helped you, if you could understand, please drop a like. That would be so much appreciated. And in this channel I actually make courses on web dev, application dev, and stuff like that, C dev, Python dev, Java development, and stuff like that. So if you want to get into those courses, those are absolutely free, by the way. I also teach how to build responsive websites for absolutely free. So if you want to enroll in that, please hit that sub button down there. And by the time I upload this video, you might only see the web design course on my channel, but I promise I will upload more. So if you're someone from future, you can check out my other playlist, and if you're someone from present or near to the present, you can wait a little bit, and I promise you to give you some quality courses. And yeah, if I could make you understand this, and if you get some marks in your exam because of me, then please make sure to like this video. And that was all for this video. I'll meet you guys in this episode. Till then, take care of yourself and your family. Silenx signing off.